I'm Tracy Sayer.
I'm Katrina Medoff, and we are the founders of Women's Weekend Film Challenge.
We're going to tell you a little bit about our organization and our film challenge, and then answer audience questions. So as we're telling you about the film challenge, you can add your questions in the Q&A tab down below. You can also upvote other people's questions, because I'm sure people are going to have very similar questions as well. We want to answer all of them, but first we'll just give you the general spiel about who we are.
Also, if you want to find us on social media, you can find us on Instagram at Women's Weekend Film Challenge, on Twitter and TikTok at WW Film Challenge, and we're on Facebook and all that jazz. And on YouTube, you can find a lot of our past virtual workshop highlights from the virtual workshop.
So Women's Weekend Film Challenge works for gender equity by providing opportunities for women to bring their talents, leaderships, and stories to the forefront of the film industry. We do this with 3 major programs. The first one is our virtual, not the first, in no particular order, virtual workshops and networking events. This is where we bring the top women of Hollywood to your home for feedback sessions, advice, and so much more. We have lots of full recordings available on our Patreon. This month on Patreon, our featured workshop is with DP Nancy Schreiber, ASC, who is also a judge for our film challenge, which we'll get into later. And we also have tons of other workshops. We have a popular one with about lookbooks with Leslye Headland of Russian Doll, which we just spoke about. We also have one with the showrunner Elle Johnson of Self-Made, and Hacks again, all of the shows that you mentioned. We have that workshop and conversations with friends, producer Emma Norton. So check out our Patreon and also check out our virtual workshop page for upcoming virtual events.
In 2021, we launched our pilot accelerator for emerging TV writers. This was where we had over 700 writers with completed TV pilot scripts submit to us. And we whittled that down with the help of some industry judges to 8 fellows who then went through a 3-week program where they learned all about how to pitch their project. And then we set them up with meetings with execs from HBO, HBO Max, Netflix, Warner Brothers, Comedy Central, and a whole host of others. And we do not have the dates for the next one yet, but keep an eye out for our email list and our Instagram to find out more. And we'll also paste the link about that in the chat.
And now about our film challenge. So again, we're going to go into some detail about what the film challenge is. And in the meantime, please put your questions in the Q&A tab below. We might not see them in the chat because the chat goes by really fast. So if you want something, you want us to answer something, make sure you put it in the Q&A. So applications are open right now for our NYC Film Challenge this August. The deadline for applying is June 27th. And you're like, what am I going to apply for? This is our 5th film challenge. We've worked with over 700 professional filmmakers to make 30 short films. And those films have been accepted into over 90 film festivals. This is a free networking opportunity where you'll get to work with amazing gear, women and non-binary filmmakers in every role of production, and you'll make a stellar film in one weekend.
We want to really emphasize that the purpose is really uplifting a whole group of filmmakers, and it's to be able to meet women and non-binary filmmakers in every role of production that you can then hire and refer for future jobs. We were both in the indie film industry in New York before we started this, and we realized that almost every single gig we got was from people that we knew and worked with before. And we also realized that so many of the sets we were on were so male dominated. And so men were sort of benefiting from this snowball effect of referrals that women weren't really benefiting from because they weren't on set in the first place with that job. So we want everyone who participates to walk away knowing women and non-binary filmmakers all across the board, not only from their team, but the other teams as well, so that they can hire and refer each other. And this has really worked so far in our past challenges very well, because we have people collaborating with each other, hiring each other, sending referrals. We've had people start businesses together, become writing and producing partners, all sorts of
Celebrate
things.
Thanksgiving together.
All sorts of things, become real friends, all of that. So that's really the goal. And it is a challenge and not a competition. So we can talk about that a little bit more later, but it's really about lifting everybody up. There's no winner. There's no film that wins or best director or anything like that. It's about everyone completing this project that they're really excited about and being in the trenches with all these other filmmakers and being excited. So let's talk about like what the film challenge actually entails and what the schedule is.
So some of the important dates, we'll go into some of the details more, but generally the important dates are you'll find out if you've been accepted at the end of July. There's a pre-pro meeting on Saturday, August 6th, and this is when everyone meets their crew for the very first time. This is when you decide what kind of equipment you want to get. This is when you talk about the locations that you have available between your crew members. This is when you meet the actors for the first time. If you're a writer, you might meet your co-writer. Every crew has 2 writers. We'll also get into that as well. And then the challenge officially begins on Thursday, August 11th, and that's when we do a genre reveal party. We pull 6 genres out of a hat, and each crew gets one randomly, and they also get a prop that they have to include in their film. And right after that happens, the writers start writing their films. They do it based on the locations they have available, and they do it based on the actors that have already been placed on their crews. And they write that script that night, Thursday, August 11th. Filming happens the next day, August 12th. It usually goes from Friday to Saturday, and then we do, the crews typically do post-production on Sunday, August 14th, and all the films have to be submitted by midnight, before midnight on August 14th. And then we do a screening. Do you want to add anything in there? Did I forget something?
Yeah, no, we do a film festival submission workshop after to make sure that all of the films, you know, are on the path toward getting into festivals, and we really help with that process as well and provide a stipend. And then we finish off with a screening, as Tracy was mentioning. It's going to be at Village East, a gorgeous big theater with between 300 and 400 seats in Manhattan. And it's getting to see your project on the big screen less than 2 weeks after the challenge ends. And that's a great way to meet and network with other the members of other teams and go to an after party, celebrate your success and all of that. So just to share again, it is free to apply and free to participate. And Women's Weekend Film Challenge provides everything that our filmmakers need. So we provide all of the cinema quality gear, courtesy of our sponsors. We put together complete crews of strangers. So you apply as an individual. Every single person uses the same application, and you submit your reels or resume or whatever we ask for in the application, depending on what roles you're submitting for. And we're putting together teams, complete crews, so that you get to meet new people.
I just want to emphasize a few ways that we are different from other film challenges or film competitions. For one, we are not a competition. I want to highlight that. There's no winning film, there's no winning crew. Everyone is working together. During a past film challenge, one of the DPs had a problem with the camera, and another DP, they had already wrapped for the day, and that DP came over to the other crew to help them. So it's all about lifting each other up. It's not a competition. There's no, you are not relying on your network. You're not relying on pulling in favors. We know that so many of these film challenges out there require you to bring in your own crew, to bring in your own equipment, and that can be really taxing on your network. What we are doing is giving you a brand new network. So you are placed on a film if you are the writer, or if you're the first AC, you are instantly on a crew where you're meeting your DP, you're meeting a new gaffer, you're meeting a sound operator, actors, directors, producers, and those are all people that you can work with in the future. You don't have to bring in everyone that you know to make this film happen. We provide the stipends for random props, and we provide the stipends to submit to workshop film festivals. So we really are trying to lift everyone up and give them all the support they need to make an awesome film and build an awesome network.
So again, please submit your questions in the Q&A. We don't see many, and we know you have a lot more because you're here. So definitely paste them in the Q&A as soon as you can.
There are no stupid questions. We are so immersed in this world that we think like things are a given. So it really helps us to hear questions that we feel like we've already answered, or we think it's obvious. Nothing is obvious. We really need to know what is not clear to everyone. So please, anything that pops to mind.
Awesome. So I am going to ask a question to you. This one is from Lily, who says, is this an overnight competition, writing, shooting, or editing overnight? How do filmmakers secure locations so quickly? And is there anything important to include in the application? So let's go with that first question. Is it happening overnight?
It's not happening overnight. We really want to encourage our filmmakers to have a realistic schedule, to plan ahead. We want everyone to take care of their health and mental health as well. So we do try to get people to have a reasonable schedule. Filming happens on Friday and Saturday, and we do believe that that's enough time to make a beautiful film. Post-production, we assign post-production supervisor, a composer, a sound mixer. Everyone is working, editors, assistant editors. You have a full crew that is taking care of their tasks. So the hope is that everything will get completed in time, that people don't have to stay up till 4 a.m. or whatnot.
It is a tight turnaround, and we know that, but we have seen teams do it. Everyone has been successful so far at completing it in the time allotted, and it says weekend, but it starts on a Thursday, it ends Sunday evening, so it's not a crazy fast turnaround, and it is 3 to 10 minute film that you're going to be making, and so you're not trying to shoot like a feature in this amount of time. We try to keep it really contained so that it is possible, and and people have done it, so we know you can do it too.
For the locations, we have this pre-pro meeting before the film challenge starts, and also on the application form, we ask people what locations they have available to them. So we provide that information to the producer when we place everyone onto the crew. So at the pre-pro meeting, they go over the list of locations that people suggested, and they also the crew also updates that list with what is still available, anything new that's come up. And there's been like really surprising locations because of that. When you're working as a team with 30 new people, again, like you're not relying on the network that you already have and the locations that you already have and you already know about. You get to meet all these new people that are like, oh, I work at this bar. They'll let us shoot there on Friday and Saturday. Oh, I work at, I have this amazing back alley that my landlord lets us film in all the time.
Amazing back alleys.
On her, there's been some
for like a horror film and stuff, but like amazing back alley just sounds so funny to me.
We've had crews film in ballrooms,
mansions, boats, rooftops, but also create beautiful films, in apartments and things like that too. But we try to, help our filmmakers as well, just to really make sure everyone's brainstorming and using their network and coming up with some stuff so that you get a really unique looking film.
And we provide production insurance too, so that that includes location insurance. So if like a landlord, for example, is uncomfortable with you filming, you can provide our insurance so that it gives them some peace of mind. So that does open up a lot more opportunities.
Finally, Lily asked, is there anything important to include in the application?
Well, definitely answer all of the questions. So like if it's asking for, if you say that you want to be an editor and it asks for your editing reel, you need to include your editing reel. If you're an actor, you need to include your acting reel. We need to this is a tight turnaround, like we mentioned. So we need to make sure that everyone that we're placing on the crew can handle this. We want to make sure that everyone is in really good hands. We can't just guess. We can't just give people the benefit of the doubt. We do our due diligence. We look at every reel. We look at your website. We really make sure that you're ready for this opportunity. We want to make sure that everyone on the crew, you can hire and refer them for a job the very next day.
All right, Tracy, what's our next question?
All right. Tiffany asks, what do you look for in a screenwriter when selecting one? Ooh, good question.
Well, that is a good one. So for screenwriters, we have you submit a 2-page writing sample. And we should mention here that we are definitely not looking for people to bring ideas that you already have into the film challenge. So if you've been thinking of a film idea for 10 years and you're like, this is the time I'm going to make it happen, it is unfortunately not the time, because we definitely want, we don't want people to bring in like their babies into this, because things are going to change. It is, you know, like a location is going to fall through. People on your team are going to have different opinions from you. Like, we want you to take your precious ideas that you've been working on and make that project when you know you can make it in the way that you want to make it. And maybe you'll have met people from the film challenge that can help you get there in the future. But for the film challenge itself, while we're looking at a pre-existing writing sample that you have, that will not be used in the film challenge in any way. So we're looking for our teams to create entirely new ideas during this challenge. And we put 2 writers on each team. So it's going to be a collaborative experience, which is really, really great if you are thinking that one day maybe you want to work in a writer's room on a TV show or something like that. Like, you're going to have a lot of opportunities in your career where you need to be able to collaborate with people. And so we are looking for writers who are open to that and like excited, especially about the opportunity of collaborating with a stranger. And, you know, just in terms of your writing, we're really wanting to see, you know, do you not only have that like ability to follow the screenwriting structure, which will be really helpful to help everyone get on the same page under a tight deadline, but how are you drawing the characters and, you know, the plot, and how is your dialogue, and how are you bringing the setting to life and everything like that. So just everything that you would normally think of for showing off your writing, we would really love to see what you can do in that 2-page sample. And we know that it's a tight amount. It's a small sample, but we know you can pick a good 2 pages that will show off what you can do.
I also want to mention that all of the writers that are selected, ooh, a motorcycle just went by. All the writers that are selected receive a license for final draft. So the most current version of it. So that's a really awesome bonus that all the writers and directors get, and team leaders.
Yeah, the team leaders as well. Yeah. We have a question from Angela. What is the criteria for selecting directors? And will there be an LA challenge this year as well?
Okay, so quickly, the LA challenge, we will be bringing that back, not this year because we've got a lot on our plate, but we will be back in LA and we cannot wait for that. For choosing directors, we are first looking at your reel, seeing the talent that you have. We are looking for someone that can manage a large crew, someone that has something to say, something that they want to, a clear vision. We want, when it asks why you want to do this film challenge, we're looking for directors that are looking to build their crews and want lots of women on those crews and non-binary filmmakers. We're looking for team players, someone that's going to be flexible in this tight schedule, but can also have some, what's the word? Help me out, Katrina.
Just keeping things going. I mean, it is like, you know, it's a large crew, and I think people are depending on the director. So if you as the director, like, we really want to make sure you have the confidence and the know-how to be able to make this happen under a tight deadline. because it is like a hectic weekend. And I think, the directors are some of the leadership on that team that really pulls people through it.
Yeah, this is not a first time director opportunity. This is something that we've had directors do this, that have directed features, that have directed many films before this, and they've said that this was the hardest yet most rewarding experience that they went through. So we are looking for people that have experience to draw from. All right. So anonymous question. What do you look for in a producer? I've been producing professionally for a while, but mostly for smaller organizations, nonprofits, etc. So this opportunity is super exciting, but I'm nervous I don't have the right kind of experience.
Oh, that is a good question. I think you should definitely apply as a producer. We're really looking for people. Yes, like on one hand, we do want people who have experience producing, right? Like, especially if you have worked with larger groups or things like that, that is helpful to say. But we're really looking for people who have the desire to really just jump in, take on that leadership position. Again, we give our team leaders a lot of tools. We have a whole team leader handbook. We do an orientation for team leaders. We do a separate orientation that the team leader attends with the writers and the director to get everyone on the same creative page. We're always on emails and chats and phone calls with our team leaders. We don't leave people high and dry, and we visit all the sets. So we make sure that everything's on track and that the team leaders have all of the tools they need and are getting all of their questions answered. But really anything that you can mention in your application about like the kind of experience that you have and like the type of atmosphere that you really want to create for your team, I think is really helpful. And our team leaders are really good resources for each other too. They're always usually on a group chat with each other. They are helping each other out. Did you just get a food delivery? That was so amazing. I want a food delivery. So our team leaders are on a group chat and they're always like, helping each other out with that. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I don't think there's a right or wrong type of experience for our producers, especially the associate producers, but for the team leader, we want someone who is like excited to take on, leading a team. So even some leadership experience that's not about producing specifically might be helpful to mention if you feel that your producing experience doesn't show the scope of what you've done.
Yeah. And we're looking for someone who's also a clear communicator and is good at communicating with us too, because you're the liaison between the crew. So we want someone that is not afraid to come to us if they have questions, if they need help with anything. Yeah.
I should also mention we are looking for team leaders who are prepared to kind of stick with this film a little longer than just that month, because there are going to be, we have a film festival submission workshop. A lot of those submissions happen then, but with film festivals, there's always deliverables that need to get sent and things like that. Some teams continue to do more festival submissions after that time. So we're looking for people who are also going to kind of follow through on that stuff, because we aren't really, once the films are submitted to the film festivals, it's really the team leaders who are making sure that all of the deliverables get to them, that you send along to us, like the news of all these film festivals and stuff. So we're looking for people who are going to continue with the film. We have an anonymous question. What are you looking for in PAs?
Oh, and PAs. So a lot of people ask if they can do this film challenge if they don't have a lot of film experience. And so we always say that PA is a great position to get started on that if you want more experience on set. For PAs, we are looking for someone who is really eager, someone who listens well, someone who really wants to be on set and learn a lot, someone who can take initiative, but also understands the rules on set.
This is a great opportunity to get on set if you haven't had that experience before and you want to have that experience. So our challenge is open to anyone 18 and above. So we have had some people as college students who, want that experience on set. Maybe they're a film student, but they haven't really gotten on a set, or they want to build up their network before they get out of college and stuff like that. And I think it's a really great way, as long as you're willing to jump in and do whatever your team kind of needs to get done. I think it's a really great way to see how a set works and to meet a lot of people and start growing your network.
And let us know in the application if you're interested, if you sign up as a PA, if you're interested in particular, like production design or electric or directing. COVID compliance, exactly. Yeah. Social media or graphic design. And then that will really help your team leader decide the best way that you can help your crew. All right, next question. How and when is the casting done? Ooh, another good question.
Oh yeah, thanks for this question, Ava. So we have a panel of judges who are helping us go over the applications. And so casting director Adrienne Stern, who has worked on a ton of projects, and she's on our website, so you could read her bio, but she is going to be helping us look through all the actor reels and just, giving us her feedback on those. So when we put the actors onto crews, and really all the members onto crews, like, we're trying to create a team that we think is going to mesh together. That's actually one of the most fun parts for us, because we're looking at like kind of the themes writers are working on, or the kind of like artistic viewpoint of the director and the actor types and stuff, and the characters you can kind of play, and just we're putting people together on crews without knowing what story is going to be written. So it's really fun to experience as an actor, because when you're placed on a crew, you know that you're going to have a role that's written for you. And so the writers are going to be looking at your reel as well once you're placed on a crew, and using that to fuel their creative juices and put people, give you exciting roles. And so yeah, it's really about, you submit your reel. Again, if you don't have a reel, you can submit a self-tape or something. We just need to see you on camera so that we can view it. And Adrienne Stern, who's judging the actor reels, can look at that as well. And Anonymous asks, can the screenwriting sample be from a spec?
Yes. That was easy. Laura and Monique asks, is the mandatory pre-production meeting in person or on Zoom?
It is in person. It's going to be in Long Island City, Queens on Saturday, August 6th. It's going to take up all day, really, especially if you're a director, writer, or producer, but it's going to take up a big chunk of the day. And that is, yeah, it is in person.
And the reason why it's mandatory is because that is when one of the most important days for meeting your crew. Remember that the whole point of this film challenge is to build a network. And so this is your time to really meet each other and connect with each other. It's a time to really share your resources, figure out how you're going to make this best film together. It's a time to consider the equipment that you have available and start shaping the film beforehand. So Zoom is awesome right now. We're all benefiting from Zoom, but it's just not the same thing as meeting in person. So we do require it to be an in-person meeting.
Okay, we have a question from Charlotte. In years past, how many people apply and how many of those applications are usually accepted?
So every year we're getting more and more applications. We get several hundred, and we accept 150 to 200 participants. Depending, some roles we can double up, like for example, sometimes for someone who applies as a boom operator and they're also in post sound, so we can give them those two roles, and so that crew has one less person on it. So to answer, I think the question that you're really asking is like how competitive this is. It really depends on the role that you're applying for. Certain roles, it is very difficult. There's a lot of people applying for that role. Just do your best on the application. Tell us why you want to do this. And if we see a spark, if we know that you're going to work well with the crew, you will get that opportunity. Or the next one.
we should say, like, there are so many talented people who apply, and it hurts our heart when we can't like accept everybody. But like, really, last time we had, I think, 120 applications for director alone, and there were 6 director slots. And so there were just so many talented people who we just weren't able to fit into that challenge. But, you know, some people ask, you know, you can apply to up to 3 roles on your application, and you can rank them first choice, second choice, third choice. So someone might say first choice is director, second choice is writer, or first choice is editor, second choice is assistant editor. And, you know, we do take every role that you apply for into account. So if director is really competitive, but we love your writing and that's one of your choices, like, you could get accepted that way as well. And, you know, we do have a wait list as well. So especially for actors, because sometimes people need to fill some additional roles. Like, if you're waitlisted as an actor, there is a possibility that you could be called by a team on the weekend itself and have a small role in the film. But yeah, for some of the other roles, it's like we get far fewer applications, for example, in sound, in G&E, in certain editing roles or assistant cameras, things like that. So there's higher chances for that than some of these other roles like director, writer, actor, or producer. But yeah, if you'd be,
can I add something about
yeah,
the 3 roles that you can apply for? Be honest with yourself when you're applying. Some people, all they want is to be an editor. That's all they want to do. If you said, all right, I'd be an assistant editor and a PA, and we place you as a PA and you'd be upset in that role, don't put that down just because you think that it might make us want to place you as an editor because it's showing that you're flexible or something. Only put down what you really want to do on set. If, for example, you love editing, you love being a PA, you love being on set, you would also love being an assistant editor, then definitely put down all 3 roles, because we will look at your reel, we'll look at the team, and we'll try to place you based on what role we really need the most and what we see you as the best fit. So please don't put a role that you wouldn't be happy doing, but also consider if you would be happy doing multiple roles.
Yeah, if you are happy doing multiple roles, there is a higher chance of acceptance because you're essentially applying like 3 separate times for those 3 different roles within one application. Okay. What's your next question?
Emily asks, what age range are participants?
Oh, so our participants are between 18 to like 60 plus. We've had like a really wide age range. So really, if you are 18 or over and you're in film, we definitely want you to apply. Where would gear pickup be? Would first ACs be expected to drive equipment over to set?
Gear pickup will be at a rental house. We are still ironing out the details of that. You will find that out in advance. It depends on who is able to pick up the gear. That's something that will be discussed at the pre-production meeting. There'll be a DP, first AC and second AC, and gaffer and grip, and in that mini group, someone will probably be available to do the pickup. Typically, the DP and first AC want to be there for the pickup to build the camera.
Yeah, we've seen our camera teams really like be at the bays, like, you know, setting up their equipment, getting a feel for it, because maybe this is even equipment that you haven't used before, because this is equipment provided by our sponsors. So it might not be something that you're familiar with. So often at the pickup, which would be on Thursday, I believe, is Thursday, the 11th of August, is when you have the opportunity to get your hands on it and ask questions, you know, there, and, you know, see it put together on the bays. And we have our sound mixers pick up their sound gear at Gotham Sound. That's our sponsor for that. And the G&E equipment is picked up at St. Elise. So that's all kind of ironed out at the pre-production meeting.
And we should mention the cameras are going to be the Sony Venice, and then we're going to have a mix, the Sony Venice, and then the Ari Alexa and the Ari Amira.
Yeah, this is the first time we're kind of mixing up, like not every team is going to have the exact same camera, but I think that'll be a really fun way to explore a bunch of different cameras and for you to also kind of make a choice on the camera like that works the best for the team and everything.
Marin asks, does it reflect badly on an application if the applicant is only interested in fulfilling one role?
Definitely not. Yeah, we want people to apply where they have experience, where they want to be. And like Tracy said, like putting something down that you won't be happy to be accepted into and then having to kind of turn that down after we place you in it definitely is not really the way to go. We really want people to put down something that they're excited about. So if that's only one role, then go ahead and just apply to that one role. Okay, Anonymous is asking, are you looking for people with experience for each role?
It depends on the role. So definitely any role that we're asking you to submit your reel, you definitely need experience for that because we are sending those reels to a panel of judges, and that panel tells us this person's definitely ready. This person is really gifted. They really have a vision. You should definitely place them. We need those reels to make those decisions. Other roles, let's see. I'm thinking of some roles that wouldn't need as much experience.
I mean, definitely PAs, or like we've had people who have like a little experience with sound and they boom up and they're able to be a little bit mentored by the production sound mixer. So there are certain roles that, you know, if you're pretty new to the camera department, but you have a little bit of experience and you apply as a second AC, like people have gotten some mentorship from the first AC and the DP and everything. But definitely, like for some of those roles, you will need some experience. But if you have no experience on set, definitely apply as a PA because it'll be a great way to see how everything works.
Anonymous asks, how do you decide to pair writers? Does the director get input on the script? And does the director get input on the script?
Yeah, so when we pair writers, you know, we have your 2-page writing samples. We often have your websites, your answers about why you want to participate in the film challenge. So once we've kind of whittled it down to the writers that we want to include, we start just to looking at like what themes are in people's work, you know, trying to have a variety of background and perspective on the writing team, but also people who might be kind of interested in some similar themes. And it's kind of like fun guesswork, I guess, of like who might be a good fit. Same with like putting those writers together with a director. And we go into this a lot more in our writer director orientation, but we have like the writer and director, like after the genres are pulled, like really all sit down together and kind of come up with like, what is the log line for this going to be? Like, what are we writing? What story are we going to tell? The team leader is there to be the no person and say, okay, we don't have a helicopter, we can't do that, whatever. But the director is really going to kind of approve like, okay, yeah, like this is the log line we're going with, like this is the direction we're going with. But the writers will also have a lot of opportunity to bring their creativity to this. This is very, very collaborative. How much experience is necessary for an associate producer? This is also anonymous.
Associate producer, it would be great if you have been on set before, you have some experience producing, and yeah, sometimes what happens is someone who's a lot more experienced in producing but doesn't have as much time to commit to the film challenge as the team leader. We place those two people together and it works out really well. So the person with a lot of production background helps the team leader who has a lot of organizational background, but the associate producer might not be able to be at the writer director orientation and be at the film festival submission workshop and continue submitting the film after the film challenge. So the associate producer, we do look for some producing experience, and we try to place you with a producer that a team leader producer that really fills in any gaps that you might have, and we hope that you fill in any gaps that the team leader has. Anonymous asks, what's the notification process of acceptance? What happens if someone has applied and between now and end of July, they suddenly find themselves unavailable for the festival?
Yeah, so the application period goes through June 27th, and then we are going to be looking at applications and reviewing them for about a month. So toward the end of July, we're going to email everyone whether they were accepted or waitlisted to let you know. And then if you are accepted, you have something like a day or two to respond and confirm your role. So that's where you can say, yes, I confirm my role, or, no, I'm not available, or I'm not interested in doing this anymore, or what have you. Hopefully that's not the case, but you can let us know. And, if you're suddenly unavailable at that time, you can let us know then, or you can, if you know already after you apply, you can also reach out to us on our contact us page on our website and let us know that you want to withdraw your application for the challenge. And then if you have been accepted, we know it can be difficult to commit to an unpaid opportunity when, your livelihood depends on you being available and having, career changing, things that come up. So we know that our participants are working, and the whole point of the challenge is to get underrepresented filmmakers more jobs. So if you need to drop out because you got another job, let us know, right away. And if you're already on a crew, let your team leader know right away. And yeah, we appreciate when people help to find a replacement for themselves if it's a certain role, like if you were in G&E and we don't have any more people on the wait list, but that is not required. So yeah. Next question is from Tiffany and Nil. If you don't live in the metropolitan area, but still live in New York and are willing and able to be in the city for the duration of the challenge, can you still apply?
Absolutely. Remember that the whole point of this film challenge is networking, to meet people that you can hire and refer. And so the reason why we say you have to live in the area is because we want anyone that you meet through the film challenge, if you want to give them a job the next day, we want to make sure that you can actually be there for that job. So if you come into the city regularly for work, then definitely apply for this film challenge.
We are not looking for people to fly in for this at all. Like, we're looking for people who are based in the area. So if you are in New York City, if you are in like right outside the city in New Jersey, if you're like, a little bit upstate on Metro North and you come in on a day-to-day basis for jobs, then you can apply.
I think we're almost done with the hour. Let's ask, Anna asks, what are the COVID-19 protocols?
So we, all participants are going to have to show proof of full vaccination against COVID or a proof of medical or religious exemption. Masks must be worn at all times indoors and are recommended for outdoor locations as well. Each team is going to have someone in charge of COVID compliance who will report to our official COVID compliance manager. And if anyone feels sick or has been exposed to COVID, they should let their designated team member know about this. And we're going to have rapid tests at certain points in the process as well. So if you do test positive, unfortunately, you won't be able to continue with the film challenge, but you will be invited to the screening that's a few weeks away and are welcome to apply to future film challenges. Talia says, I totally messed up my application, forgot to include some stuff. What should I do?
You can apply again and just put in a note in one of the questions where you can answer longer answers. Just say like, I applied before, but I didn't have the right answers, and we'll consider that.
Definitely when you're going through your application, make sure that all of your links work, that your email address doesn't have a typo in it. We see a lot of broken links. We see a lot of email addresses where we notify someone that they're accepted, and then it just bounces back and it's not a real email address because there's a typo. So just make sure you give your whole application another read through. Make sure you copy and paste those links back into a browser to just double check that they all work because we have so many applications that we're not really able to follow up about broken links and such. So just ensure that everything is how you want to submit it. Jamie asks, can I request that my friends are placed on my team?
No, you cannot. Again, the point of this film challenge is to network and meet new people. So it would kind of negate the benefit if you're working with your friends and people that are already in your network. One of the best possible things that could happen is that your friends are on different crews. All of you are meeting a new network of 30 filmmakers. And if you want to work together after the film challenge with your friends, then you have like 90 people to draw from that you have worked with on set.
Emily is asking how many grips will there be on each team? And the answer to that is, it really depends on how many G&E applications we get. There are some teams in the past that we've had that have had a gaffer and a key grip and maybe a G&E swing, but it might be one person who's kind of in charge of the whole G&E department, depending on how many applications. So please let everyone know in G&E, because that is always something that we're looking for more applications from.
And you're going to be working with incredible gear provided from Cinelease. So it's an amazing opportunity to work with equipment that you might not have been using before. You're going to be working with really talented cinematographers and first ACs. So it's really an opportunity to hone your skills and work with the best. So definitely share this opportunity with any other friends that you have in G&E. We have a lot of frequently asked questions on our website. Definitely take a look at that as well.
Thank you all so much for coming and for submitting your questions. We hope we covered everything that you had questions about, and we look forward to seeing all of your applications.